lines in the fight against congestion in the skies. He says the solutions are more airports and better communication.
James Coyne is president of the National Air Transportation Association. Welcome, Jim. Good to have you on the program here on Fox Business.
Oh, great to be with you today.
So you heard some of the president's ideas. They're not necessarily as sort of long-term as building other airports, but for now, does that help the situation?
Well, I think they certainly help, and they're probably the best that he can do for a short-term fix. But, you know, seriously, this is just a very slight adjustment to what is a very serious problem right now. Much bigger things need to be done.
Like what, Mr. Coyne?
Well, we really have got four areas of concern and problem. One is on the ground at the airports. Another one is on the airline side with the scheduling that they're doing. The third area of concern is that in the union issues that exist today, which are, of course, very problematic. And fourth is the modernization of the air traffic control system, the electronics that guide the planes in the sky. I happen to think that the most overdue problem that we really have got to start dealing with as a nation is building more airports. We've only barely been able to build one added runway as a nation in the last 5 years. We haven't built a new major airport in over a decade. You have a country like China, which is building 40 or 50 new airports the size of Cleveland Airport right as we speak, and they'll probably have them done in a year or so. We have a political gridlock in aviation.
What's causing the logjam?
Well, of course, a lot of it on the airport side is the tremendous litigation and environmental rules that developers of airports have to go through in order to get something done. And we really kind of have a missing link in our system. Everything in aviation, almost everything in aviation, is national, but the airports are still controlled and regulated by local governments. And we need a national airport policy, just like we had a national highway policy back in the 50s when we built our interstate highway system. We need the same kind of national leadership to really improve our airports and add more runways.
Jim, in the late 90s, then Governor of Ohio, Dick Celeste, set down an edict that there had to be an airport, whether it was a small one or somewhat big or medium-sized, in every county in his state. Is it something where we go to somebody like him and say, how did you get that done? I mean, obviously those are on many smaller scales, but now in the state of Ohio, in every single county, there's an airport. Somebody did something right.
Right. That is an excellent example, and within the aviation community, that example that you mentioned is held out as one of the most far-seeing political actions ever taken. Now, Georgia is also trying to do something similar, but we need to do that at a national level. There's no reason that every American citizen can't be assured of easy access to an airport when and where he needs it.
How can the federal government come into a state and say you've got to deregulate your state rules?
Well, we do it in highways, of course. I mean, our interstate highway system, a local community cannot decide to shut down an interstate highway. They can't decide to reduce the number of lanes from 8 to 4. But at the federal level in aviation, we don't have that kind of authority with local communities. And I think Congress is going to have to give to the FAA and the federal government that kind of authority to say, okay, you need a new runway at this airport. We're going to give you 3 years to get it done instead of 20 like it typically takes today. And if you haven't done it in 3 years, we're going to preempt you and get it done ourselves.
By the way, though, wouldn't that then become a constitutional issue, which would go into the courts, the states saying that this is unconstitutional?
Well, no, I think our Constitution gives the federal government commerce authority, and there's hardly anything more important to our commerce as a nation than aviation. So I think the constitutional authority is already there. What you really need is the political will in Congress and at the White House to get it done.
Jim, great to have you on. Will you come join us again?
Be happy to.
Jim Coyne, thank you. Live from Washington.
Great stuff.
Will earnings from Starbucks give the markets a jolt?